Okay, everybody. Empire Wealth Quiz. And by the way, stick just because I kind of put both versions together because I don't like to have all the same versions for the day because people start asking and start threatening people in First Spirit. Well, hey, how was that quiz? Hey, yeah, well, wasn't too, it wasn't too bad. Yeah, what else? A lot of chapter 2. You get it? So that's why there's always multiple versions. What happens is just to show you, James is so funny, James, is that you have 5 questions on the front page. You have to answer 3 of those out of the 5. So you want to write down your card. The next section for chapter 2 is the same thing. So as well, might have to answer a little bit more for like the American Revolution and transition because sometimes people don't get to that part or whatever. So like that. And then now some people are going to say, oh, I'm just going to go to that part. And I say, so don't do that. Your cue cards. Just your index card. So what you want to do for all you guys, what you need as far as like, yeah. Oh, Mrs. Baldwin. Like that. That's so good. Thing into chapter 1. Just talk about chapter 1, maybe some hints. It talks about comparing and contrasting Europe, all right, to America. Why is America so valuable, like it's getting compared to Europe? Also, too, you might have some demographics on the Native Americans as well, just maybe some numbers. Sometimes people want to get down some numbers. Advantages of the Jamestown location compared to other locations, things of that nature. So yeah, so those things that you might want to take a look at. And that's something. I think these are pretty good hints and everything in a way. So not everything here, so like that. And the second chapter, really a lot of colonies, right? From Maryland, Carolina, and the Chesapeake. So you want to kind of maybe on your card look at some colonies and which ones did what. All right, which one was they known for? And things. How did the colonies prosper? Again, the kind of grains in the middle colonies, the iron making, these types of things and everything, the industry that's happening to the Northeast, and spends a lot of time on John Winthrop too, but not so much City on a Hill, but just kind of his, his work ethic and why he was into investing and into making money. Kind of like the third chapter, again, you get more of the colonies here. The Dutch, William Penn, the specific service the colonies were relied upon. And I have to say, because the American Revolution won, I think you need to. Well, here's my hint. I wouldn't be, I'm not going for the obvious in the American Revolution, no taxation by representation. And he actually doesn't talk about too much. If you notice, he really talks about post-revolution. That's what I'm going to lead into for the next 20 minutes, about how, the economic problems, how people were how states, new states were doing what to solve their economic problems, to pay their debt. What were they doing that you're going to see a theme in this book? That's the fatal flaw, according to the author. He's always saying that like this, you should never do this to make a sound economy. What were they doing? Printing money. So that's one of the things that you see a theme throughout the book that you guys, if you get really, you see in the American Revolution one that you'll see on there. That it's always a central theme to that. And I'll just the last hint for that chapter and everything. I'm a big Adam Smith guy. Who is Adam Smith? I am a big Adam Smith guy. Who is Adam Smith by any chance? Does anybody recall from anything? Maybe you've heard his name, but you can't recall what he did. So, well, 1776, you get Thomas Paine's Common Sense, but you also get The Wealth of Nations. And he's saying, what about mercantilism? I don't know if anybody's got to that point. What do you think if he's saying about the wealth of nations? What do you think he's saying about the system of mercantilism? Just think for a moment what mercantilism is. Think about, I said he wrote this book called The Wealth of Nations. What you think that he probably was advocating, knowing about America 2018, knowing how America developed? Did he like the system of mercantilism? Can anybody do some deduction on this late day here, like again, on the mid-Wednesday here, midweek here? Wealth of nations. Come on, you commies. Left-wing socialists. Can't believe you guys. Man, I'm telling you. All that Milton Friedman is turning in his grave. Ronald Reagan is turning in his grave. Like again about, yes, Devon. Yes, he's definitely dissing, as they just say back in 1988, really mercantilism. What is his way? What is Alexander Hamilton's way, which we'll get into more on tomorrow? What is their way? Come on again, bunch of comrades. Boy, my goodness, you're going to be disappointed in all these Herbert Hoovers and private individuals and everything like that. Sarah.
Well, we talked about Alexander Hamilton loving the British, but at the same time, he was one of the worst smugglers, so he didn't like American.
He was Hamilton. I'm going to correct you on that one. Hamilton was not a smuggler. Hamilton actually was pretty practical in a way. He comes from the West Indies, and he doesn't want to. A lot of these guys before the 19th century. Now get this, I'm foreshadowing the future. Before we get to the skillionaires like Rockefeller, Carnegie, who paid no taxes, they kept all their, millions. Before you get to that, it was actually not good to be kind of like, conspicuous with your wealth or your like prosperity. So he was always wanted kind of like, hey, I'm a humble man. George Washington, who owned Washington, D.C., practically like territory, and wanted even more, try to be like a man of the people in a way as best he can. So that's the kind of culture of the time. But what is he kind of like Hamilton's pushing, you think, Sarah? I just kind of like that clarification. What kind of system is he really, these guys are pushing? Free market. Capitalism is what we have in a way. We're not quite Denmark or Canada or that, but I mean, we are pretty much a free market society with a lot of socialism mixed in that people don't like to say it. We have a lot of government kind of like help, support, like that in a lot of ways. Not just like welfare. I'm talking about when you open up a business, if somebody's in here who's like, a minority. And when I say that, not by color, by maybe number, like maybe you're from out of state, maybe you're a woman, maybe you like, this is the first time you open up a business. Sometimes government will help you out with a loan. All right. And it will do this for you. That's help too. Libraries, roads. I always said one of the things is that government's function is that I can't build a road myself. But if I donate some pennies, Sarah donates some pennies, like Marley donates some pennies, we can help build a road. And that's what, so-called socialism and all that kind of thing comes about in a way. But Hamilton and Adam Smith are saying what we need now is, entrepreneurs, we need manufacturing. Right? And just to kind of look ahead, I'm jumping over what I'm going over. Something that you guys do not understand is debt. Debt is good. All right. You don't understand that debt. I'm looking forward to Tuesday on this one. I'm kind of done with the Empire of Wealth. So if people want to kind of make a, kind of a separation here about that. But I'm looking forward to quiz number 6 on Tuesday. Why? Because, as the Godfather says, he owes me money. Why should I kill him? If you're a mobster, you don't want to kill the people that owe you. So you want to keep them alive. You want to keep the United States alive. But it does not say that you don't pay back your debts. Now, most of you, unlike, well, I'm glad debt is not a crime. I'd be on death row. But anyway, so most of your families not trying to throw off on you are in debt. All right, from some mortgage, car, or something like that. I'm not trying to I said, no, Mr. Price, we budget everything. We pay cash only. That's the exception again. All right. I understand that. I know there's probably some households like that, but most of our households are in debt. It runs on that. What Hamilton was looking at is this. Whose debt is going to create nationalism? How would debt create nationalism? What debt are they going to start assuming and taking? Trina. The war debt. From what? Go ahead. The state's debt. And a couple of places like Virginia, and I don't know, I think South Carolina was in debt, but it was like another state saying, we don't owe anything. Fudge you. Oh, can I say that? All right. Well, really. And Hamilton has another plan. He said, well, hillbillies, that's his hillbillies now. This is the South. By the way, the Constitution is mostly fought over between not large states and small states. 1788, it's northern states and southern states. Just a correction, because I know first grade, small states, big states. Massachusetts was a big state. You get it? I know you guys don't believe that. So they had interest in there. So it's just more northern. But here's the compromise. What are we going to give the Southerners that's going to be wow, because it's usually in Philadelphia. It's usually in New York City. What is the deal he makes with the Southerners? The capital. We'll move it down to the Southern capital. And that really thinks with the government, the federal government there, we can keep a check on it. We don't feel as bad. We don't feel as Daniel Shays at this point. Very good. All right. And speaking of that, we'll elaborate more on that. I got a nice little acronym for that for Tuesday. But I just want to get into that since we kind of jumped into that about debt and money and empire wealth about economics, because a lot of you guys don't understand that. Hamilton would see the debt today, and he would probably say, if he was alive, that debt clock that everybody likes to show, oh man, look at this. I'm okay. I say, that. I know he would say it is a lot. What would be bad if we could not pay the principal and pay on that? We are the strongest, largest economy in the world. I know, go ahead and say, other countries, China, like I get Miss Price, you got to be worried. No, all right. And that's what people want to do because it makes us start, I don't know, doing things like I say again, in this country, out of fear. But we are the largest, strongest economy, even when we're running through recessions in here in the late 20th and early 21st century. So he would probably say, all right, it's good. Look where we're at. I expected the United States to dissolve. George Washington, Ben Franklin, who's about ready to take a Pasadena after the convention because he's, 80 years old at the time and everything. And the next youngest is 60. So he's about ready to take a Pasadena. He has to be carried into the convention. I tell you. But, got to have Ben because it's already hot in there. So it's already flies and everything. So you get Hamilton kind of understanding about debt. Right? So I know you're going to go home. Mr. Rice says debt is good. Debt is good. Charge it. No, there's a difference if you're not paying down on your principal or you're doing something for that. But it is going to do that. Let's back up for more early Tuesday or actually Thursday after the quiz. Once you guys finish your quiz, I'll give you the do now. You don't have to pick it up at the beginning. Don't worry about that. But we want to start with the chronology again, back to 1783. 1785, problems in the states. And a lot of you are going to say first thing you know is taxes, and I say no.